So, there we go. Okay, so when you're in high school, your decision on what college to go to feels like the weight of the world is on this one decision. And when I was in high school, it was a long time ago, they had recruiters who would come and talk about schools and make them sound fabulous. And there was this one guy who came to my school and talked about this research station, this remote research station in the Bay of Fundy that the school had. And I was like, that's where I want to go. That alone. I want to go off to an island in the Bay of Fundy and study birds. So I applied and I got in and I went. I went to school, and freshman year was awesome, and you had to take an ornithology class in order to be qualified to go to this island. And I'm from Brooklyn, and in Brooklyn we have pigeons and we have sparrows. And I was like, that's all the birds I knew. So they were like, I don't know about you. But I tried really hard, and I learned the difference between a titmouse and a chickadee, and so I got to go. So at the end of freshman year, we pack up a van, and we drive into Canada, and we take a ferry to a big island, and we take a lobster boat from the big island to the little island, and we set up camp. And there's no electricity, and there are outhouses, and there's well water, and it's remote. And the Bay of Fundy is really famous for two things primarily. It's famous for its 40-foot tides. At low tide, you can walk across the bottom of the ocean to the neighboring islands. And it's famous for fog. And the fog rolls in like it's wind made visible. And it blows across the island, and it results in this moist, foggy, mossy, kind of Tolkien fairyland. And the project that I was working on, we were studying little seabirds, and the seabirds spend the first 3 years of their lives completely at sea. They eat plankton, and they stir the water with their little feet, and they dance on the water, and they make these tiny little noises. They say, "Do-do-do-do-do-do," and "boom." And they mature, and they come back to the island to find their lifelong mates, and they dig burrows under the moss and make nests down these long tunnels. And the major professor came and introduced me to my research partner, and he spent a week and said, okay, see you guys, you're on your own. So my research partner and I were spending 12 hours a day in the field. And the field is these lichen-dripped, stunted forests with moss several feet thick that's been growing for eons, and it's romantic. It's gorgeous. We're out there all day long, and the way you study the birds is doing this thing they call grubbing. And you find a burrow, and you stick your arm down the burrow until you feel a little nibbling on the tips of your finger, and you grab its little beak, and you pull it out, and out comes, it's like gray cotton with little black eyes and a beak. It's this fluffy, downy chick that smells like earth. And they are cute and sweet. And we were doing this all day long. We'd band them, we'd weigh them, we'd measure them. And I was like, you are really cute. This research partner and I spent all day. And everybody on the island assumed by week 3 that we were sneaking off in the woods to have sex. But really what was happening was we were sneaking off into the woods, and our little courtship ritual was we'd go to grub, and we'd stick our hand down, and he'd lean over, and he'd bonk heads with me. That was the extent of our romantic interaction all summer long. And I'd write to my roommate, and I'd say, I think he likes me. We bonked heads again. And then I'd say, and then the next day I was like, oh, nothing happened today. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like me. And then the next day, we bonked heads again. So we went on like this all summer, and finally the summer winds down, and we get on the bus to drive back to school, and we get to sit next to each other. So, trying to wrap it up. So back at school, my roommate, who had been writing these letters to all summer long, organizes a group movie night, and he's invited. And we all are going to go to the movies together. And one by one, everybody else drops out. So it's just the two of us who go to the movies. And it was a great night, and we had our first kiss. And that was September 5th, 1985. And in November, we'll be celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary. Thank you.